Breaking news off the top tonight, gunfire erupting in a South Florida neighborhood.
And tonight we're learning a teenager was hit. Let's go to Local 10 News reporter Andrew Perez live now with the breaking details for us. Andrew.
Well, police have been out here for several hours now. They've been talking to witnesses. They've been photographing this crime scene. And I want to get you right to some video of this crime scene. This has been a very active investigation so far. What we know, according to Miami police, they're saying a 17-year-old man, he was shot in front of a home here, Northwest 64th Street and 3rd Court. He had to be rushed to Jackson Ryder Trauma. The witnesses, they were telling us they feared for their families when the shots rang out. One woman tells us her mother just panicked.
I guess she got on the floor because she was scared. It's very frustrating because my nieces and my nephews play over here, and I don't like that because if something happened to one of them, then I got to get involved.
So you're taking a live look at this hour. We do not know the condition of that teen just yet, but crews, they've been out here for quite some time. They've even been recording this crime scene. 3 CSI vans out here as well. Police right now, they are working to figure out who exactly opened fire. That's the situation here in Miami. I'm Andrew Perez, Local 10 News.
This man killed me. This man destroyed my daughter's life. This man should be for the rest of his life in jail.
Tonight, a father expressing his anger and agony after learning the sentence of a man who killed his daughter in a wrong-way wreck.
That man will spend 7 years in prison, but the family says it's simply not enough.
Local 10 News reporter Kristen De La Rosa live now from Miami with more of this emotional day in court. Christian.
Well, by the time this wrong-way driver is done with his sentence, he'll be in his early 30s. The injuries suffered by the victims in this crash are permanent.
This man killed me. This man destroyed my daughter's life. This man should be for the rest of his life in jail.
24-year-old Franklin Chavez is stone-faced as he's forced to listen to the family he has crushed.
My heart is broke.
He was driving the wrong way on Interstate 95 and he crashed into the vehicle with a mother, a daughter, and a son back in 2015. Elisa Diaz was critically injured. Her son, Brian Crialis, permanently crippled.
He was laughing and laughing. You don't know what's going on. This is how you let my son.
Carmen, who was on her way to the airport to go start medical school out of state, died. The victim's father looked straight at Chavez.
Doesn't matter what is the sentences, God is waiting for you.
Chavez taking the stand to try to show some remorse.
I understand the pain you guys live with today. This pain is unbearable.
The young man faced up to 26 years in prison. He got much less than that. 7 years behind bars, 8 years probation. Chavez shielded and rushed out of the courtroom by loved ones. The victim's family tonight still crushed.
And I'm gonna die with this pain.
And one reason why Chavez may not be spending more time in jail, state prosecutors didn't have the evidence to prove he was drunk behind the wheel. By the time troopers showed up at the hospital to collect the blood test from Chavez, it had been destroyed. In Miami, I'm Christian De La Rosa, Local 10 News.
Christian, thank you. And right now the search is on for the gunman behind a road rage shooting in Miami Gardens. Sky 10 was over the Speedway gas station right off Northwest 199th Street and 27th Avenue, where a man drove himself after getting shot in the leg. Police say it all stemmed from a fight with another driver who pulled out a gun after the two got into a crash. The victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities say the other driver got away in a 1999 to 2000 gray GMC Jimmy SUV, similar to the one you see here on your screen. If you spot it or you know anything that could help police, give a call to Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers, 305-471-TIPS.
The defendant is guilty of murder in the second degree, a lesser included offense.
2 days of deliberations end in a guilty verdict for the Miramar man accused of killing his estranged wife. Sid Torres was convicted of second-degree murder today in a 2-week-long trial that included the couple's own daughter taking the witness stand. Torres did not testify during the trial, but prosecutors argued he was possessive and once threatened Vallette's new boyfriend shortly before she disappeared 5 years ago. She was last seen on surveillance video driving into her gated community, but her body was never found. Torres faces up to life in prison.
A sinking feeling is growing in one Florida neighborhood after a sinkhole swallowed 2 homes. Look at this, one of them just going down in seconds, and it's all caught on camera. It started early this morning, and the concern is still growing tonight. Tonight, that massive sinkhole outside Tampa growing, swallowing 2 houses and threatening more. The family in this house getting out minutes before the ground gave way.
It was so emotional. I started crying and everything. But we got the dogs out and we couldn't save anything else.
Their home sinking into the mud.
Everything's gone.
A little earlier, they were calling 911.
There's a sinkhole right next to our neighbor's house, and it's literally eating the house like completely.
Within minutes, it was crumbling. And you see how that sinkhole spread across the street, already over 250 feet wide by 50 feet deep. So far, 11 neighborhood families evacuated, grabbing whatever they could carry as the earth crumbled.
You could just see in people's eyes the anxiety level. They're fearful. And unfortunately, we can't give clear answers because this is Mother Nature. But to everybody in this community, know we stand with you.
There were early signs of a sinkhole here 5 years ago, but owners were told last year the house was stabilized. And officials say they want to make sure that sinkhole has stopped expanding, and then they'll try to drain it. But tonight, they're not ruling out more evacuations.
Time now for your tropical update, and there are several waves out in the Atlantic right now.
It's our promise to bring you an update in the first 10 minutes of every newscast. So let's get to Weather Authority Chief Certified Meteorologist Betty Davis. Is there any wave we need to be concerned about?
No, Lori, not really. There are 3 tropical waves we're tracking over the Atlantic basin, including one that's spreading some showers, some clouds over parts of the southeast Bahamas, but it's not showing any signs of organizing. The other ones are not either. Therefore, no tropical cyclone development is expected for the next 5 days. We'll have a closer look at the weekend forecast coming up.
President Trump is back in Washington tonight after celebrating Bastille Day in France. And while Senate Republicans head home to review the health care bill, the president continues to be consumed by his son's meeting with a Russian lawyer. Our D.C. Bureau Chief Ross Palumbo explains now from the White House.
Calvin, the president is back from France and in New Jersey tonight, but still no word from him on this latest controversy after we learned that yet another Russian was at that meeting with Donald Trump Jr. All this despite what Jr. himself told us just a few days ago.
So as far as you know, as far as this incident is concerned, this is all of it. This is everything. This is everything.
But today, something in Donald Trump Jr.'s story may have changed again. Russian lobbyist Rinat Akhmedson now saying he was with Russian attorney Natalia Veselnitskaya in a meeting at Trump Tower with Donald Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort, all billed as part of a Russian government effort to help the Trump campaign.
Judge Gorsuch is eminently qualified.
Akhmedson already catching Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley's attention, who recently sent a letter referring to reports about him that he worked for the GRU and allegedly specializes in subversive political influence operations. After telling the AP that he was once loosely part of Russian counterintelligence, Akhmedson also saying he was not a spy.
We're sending a letter to request his presence.
Grassley has already asked Trump Jr. to testify about all of this publicly.
And then we're finding out who else was in the room.
Now, in her boldest statement yet, leader Nancy Pelosi accusing the Trump campaign of a long list of crimes.
Criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States, impeding the lawful administration of a federal election, or to make an offense against the United States, cyber crimes, hacking against U.S. citizens.
Leader Pelosi, are you saying that the people in that meeting violated those laws or may have violated those laws?
Yes.
The president attending the Bastille Day celebration in Paris, making no public comment after saying this yesterday.
But nothing happened from the meeting. Zero happened from the meeting.
And after another long handshake, leaving to return to New Jersey, still saying nothing.
This latest crisis broke as the president was aboard Air Force One on his way back from France. We know that while on Air Force One, the president did call several senators to lobby for this new health care bill, but still no comment tonight on this crisis involving his son, Don Jr. For now, it's the very latest from